now Danny and Phoebe will speak.
Good afternoon, graduates, faculty, administrators, and families. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the culmination of our journeys with the International Comparative Studies Department.
Phoebe and I have been in ICS classes together since our sophomore year with Professor Catherine Mathers, and we're so honored to have the opportunity to speak to you this afternoon about what our time with the department has meant to us.
We know that throughout the weekend, some of these speeches can get a bit redundant and start to blend together. So we would like to borrow a policy from Professor Mathers' syllabus to make sure everyone pays attention.
It's called the no screen policy. If you so much as pull out a phone, Phoebe will sense it and stare at you disappointingly until you put it away.
I think I speak for all the undergraduates when I say that when I started here at Duke, I could not have told you what ICS was or what it was about. I think I understood it at some point throughout the intro class, but I lost those notes a long time ago.
A major unique to Duke, its website explains that ICS majors gain knowledge in the cultures, history, politics, and language of one geographic region of the world through region and foreign language coursework. So not only do we specialize in knowledge about one area of the world specifically, like Latin America and the Caribbean or the Middle East, but we also put this into context with global studies of all the world's networks and relationships.
The term ICS can also be turned into a colloquialism used commonly in the everyday life of us students. One common way to employ the term, for example, is when asking another classmate, "Are you ICS?"
Meaning, of course, are you vaguely interested in international politics, cultural studies, and history, but generally uninterested in most stable career options?
In addition, it could mean, have you deep down always wanted to be one of those people who could brag about Foucault, but are way too lazy to actually read him by yourself?
That's right, we just bragged about reading Foucault.
Has it been your wildest dream to condense an 100-page reading into a 250-word reading response? Do you have a fetish for defining terms like colonialism and neoliberalism in a singular sentence?
Do emails from Catherine Mathers, Josephine McManaman, and Catherine Loweth make up for 70% of your Exchange inbox?
These are just some of the things that makes us ICS majors. But all joking aside, for many of us here, ICS has been a hugely transformative experience. It begins in freshman year with the infamous ICS 95 class. This is an introductory course which is mandatory for all those who will major in ICS and was consistently spoken about in my freshman year as the course that would change your life. A friend advertised it to me as simultaneously the best and worst class at Duke. Best because of the unmatched quality of the instructors in the department and mind-blowing nature of the material, but worst because of the sheer amount of work required by the course.
As seniors, looking back at all that we have covered as freshmen and sophomores, we are now consciously aware of how little we truly understood from all that theory and literature that we read so many years ago. Despite an incredible amount of work and study, we were only beginning the process of opening our minds to these new concepts and definitions of the world that we've now become a little bit more familiar with.
Though I think we can all agree it would be utterly enthralling to go over these terms in their original complexity and language, we thought it would be fun to break them down by relating these newly mastered vocabulary words to our experiences at Duke over the past 4 years.
Definition 1, Marxism. Karl Marx's belief that, while the hard work of naive, overly ambitious freshmen often goes ignored by the oppressive administration and upperclassmen, eventually this class of students will rise up via social transformation and class conflict and refuse to complete any assignments by the time senior year comes around.
Definition number 2, globalization. Though we may have begun freshman year with the mere offerings of salads at ABP and pizza at the Loop, we end 2019 with the sumptuous offerings of tacos and quesadillas at Sazon and the other 14 types of cuisines at West Union. Thanks to our ever-globalizing world, we will never eat better than we have at university.
Progress. You think your honors thesis will slowly get better. Instead, it becomes incrementally less terrible. Success is almost never a straight line.
Citizenship. You don't want to go to ICS colloquiums every week, but you feel a sense of responsibility toward Lisa Poteet's Evites. You feel that as a participating citizen of the ICS populace, your RSVP is greatly significant.
Nation. If you are a regular on the East-West bus or a weekly inhabitant of the West Duke building, you have a vested claim in the space and place that we call ICS. The place is defined by the classrooms, hallways, and offices that we have come to feel comfortable and vulnerable in, and the space by the incredible classmates, professors, and mentors that the department constantly surrounds us with.
Last but not least, nationalism. A collective sense of awe and admiration for our ICS family. A sense of mutual respect and curiosity for each other's vastly different interests and opinions. More importantly, a passionate intrigue about the world around us and a stubborn insistence on consistently questioning and criticizing the status quo.
To all the parents sitting here today, Phoebe and I would like to apologize for the incessant squabbling and arguing about culture and politics that most of you have likely had to endure at the dinner table as a result of our ICS education. We assure you that this newfound sense of rebellion is a direct result of the amazing professors and friends who have guided us through our experiences in ICS and provided us with a shifted perspective on what questions to ask and which debates are worth having.
There's no doubt that ICS expands your horizons and flips your previous understanding of history, culture, and politics upside down. As Professor Mathers noted at our thesis colloquium 2 days ago, our complicated global and regional studies often make us realize the extent to which the world around us is unjust and unethically driven, and how difficult it is to ethically navigate it.
But as Phoebe and I can tell you from the military-esque training we signed up for, both in ICS 195 and again in that lovely thesis seminar, it is incredibly fulfilling to work at being a better person by having those tough conversations about problems facing our world today and obliging ourselves to maintain excellent moral character in every judgment that we make.
This personal growth is what makes all the difficult work worth it, no matter how long it takes. Sometimes the best kind of change happens in very small units. To quote Professor Mathers after one of my many thesis meetings, "I'm no longer deeply concerned, only mildly concerned."
As ICS seniors, we are deeply concerned about lots of things going on in the world. It's through our traveling, interrogating, writing, reading, rereading, discussing, and arguing that we feel we are able to make an impact on the things that we care about most. But we're only mildly concerned about our ability to get this work done continually after we graduate, because the department has definitely prepared us to take on any challenge, even when we aren't allowed to look at screens.
It is to this incredible community of mentors and classmates that we owe our many thanks. First and foremost, and for the 10th time, even though she deserves to hear it 1,000 more, our thesis advisor, Catherine Mathers. Professor Mathers has guided us through both personal and academic challenges throughout our time at Duke, answering panic emails at 2 a.m. at any time, and dedicating her heart and mind to our interests. This style of mentorship exists across all instructors in the ICS department and has been a much-needed fuel of inspiration as we've tackled our undergraduate studies.
To our classmates, it's incredible how you just know when somebody is ICS. I'm only allowed to brag about this today because I'm graduating, but our majors truly stand apart from their peers. Irrespective of the difficulty at explaining to future employers what ICS is or means, the core tenet of our studies demands us to have a personal stake in analyzing the world around us, and it is this deeply intimate involvement with our work that makes us each incredibly knowledgeable and powerful.
As students of international comparative studies, we have been taught that we not only have the ability, but more importantly, the need to challenge the world around us with these questions, these doubts about the state of affairs in all respects. It is this training and knowledge that has vested in us the understanding that we must first analyze the world before we can challenge and change it. As I look in front of me, to my right actually, at this peculiar array of individuals, I know that in each person is an agent who will employ the lessons that we have learnt in ICS to enact the much needed change this world needs.
Together, we struggled through the ICS intro class and many more after that, navigating all of our prior knowledge that was slowly dismantled before our eyes, while also taking in the new material that was placed in front of us. Upside-down maps, translated literature from all corners of the world, from readings by Marx and Said to world-shattering concepts like representation and doxa, not that we remember what doxa means. I just remember it was momentarily earth-shattering. The education provided to us by ICS has been eye-opening, bewildering, and absolutely inspiring.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the miserable British weather and have an amazing weekend.